Emily Dickinson once wrote, "Nature is a haunted house, but art is a house that tries to be haunted." Not many people knew about the Rosenheim Mansion in Los Angeles until Brad Falchuk and Ryan Murphy created a little series on FX called American Horror Story Murder House back in 2011, which was a story about a house that killed whoever lived within its walls. The show was a hit on FX, creating a huge fandom. As people were flocking towards the show's seasons, more fans were flocking to the location of the mansion, wanting to see the murder house. And that's where this Hollyweird tale begins. So join us on episode 37 as Hollyweird Paranormal takes a deep dive within the walls of the Rosenheim Mansion as we learn more about the mystery and history of the home. Stay tuned as we talk about the nightmare real estate that the current owners are going through with our interview with their lawyer, Doug Vanderpool. Definitely don't want to miss this. But we ask the biggest question of all. What's worse? Dealing with the living or dealing with the dead? Side note, please pardon the sound quality with our interview with Doug Vanderpool. We are pair nerds and true crime enthusiasts, not sound engineers, so we do our very best to improve the sound quality of our FaceTime interviews. Now, let's get Hollyweird. It's about that time, guys. Yes, we're going to talk about
cinnamon rolls. Oh, no. No.
You mean cinnamon rolls from Cinnabon?
Oh, God, so good.
Oh, my gosh. I'm only going to eat half of one.
Never.
That's a myth.
No.
There's certain things that I'm trying to process right now, guys. I'm trying to process watching Homecoming on Netflix with Beyonce.
God. I've seen it 5 times.
I cried. Oh, yeah.
I just keep putting it like, maybe I'll just put it on again. It's so good. It's so
I just love seeing her boots. I'm like, I want to make boots like that.
I mean, not that she needs my approval, but like everything she does is amazing.
It is.
Like, it's like, I can't ever imagine, she's famous enough.
Yeah.
And like powerful enough and like established enough that if she just wanted to stand in front of a wind machine and let like her hair blow.
Yeah.
And like sing. Like there are other performers, cough, cough, Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Who do that. And it's like fine. She's, she was famous in the 90s, so like whatever. But like with Beyonce, there's never like a let up from the gas pedal. She's still, you can't look away from her. She's the best singer. When she dances in a row full of professional dancers and she's still the best one to look at, like that's special. It's so good. If you haven't seen it, turn this off immediately.
And do it. I feel like if she were to go into a haunted house and sing and dance in the house, this house would be clear.
Yeah.
By Beyonce.
She's just so good.
Yeah, she's so good.
She's like my one remaining like celebrity freak out. Like,
yeah.
We've talked about this before, but when you live, especially when you live in Hollywood, but anywhere in LA, you sort of lose your star fuckery pretty quickly.
Yeah.
At least I did. I think we've talked about this. But it's just like they're kind of always in your way. Their premieres are like blocking traffic.
Exactly.
The Oscars are a hellacious nightmare. But if I saw Beyonce, I would lose my shit. Like I still would full on fangirl. There's just there's no chill about that.
Yeah. A lot of us fangirls will, love her till the day we die, especially into the afterlife.
Yeah.
If I was a ghost, I would haunt Beyonce.
I think she has some way to keep us away. She's
exactly.
like, I'm sorry, I'm really busy right now.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
Another thing, I'm still processing Game of Thrones.
Sure.
Of course. Bran.
I feel so bad. We had a friend whose mom was in town, and he was like, we were very judicious with who we like invited to come watch it at our house because like I am not trying to have people talk or take bathroom breaks or like speak or breathe heavy while I'm watching it because I'm crazy. He's like, can my mom come? She's in town. I was like, okay, but I'm not trying to be mean to someone's mother. So like, she needs to understand that like this is not the time for her to like ask questions or like anything. And she was fine. She was great. And she's so sweet. I love her. But I was just like, I don't want to be mean to someone's mom, but I will be.
Like, what are the name of the dragons again?
Get out.
Who's the name of the dragon?
Get out. I told my one friend, I said, that's strike 2. If you get strike 3, you're not invited. The first week, he had to use the bathroom. And then literally, there were 10 seconds left of the episode. So he came back from using the bathroom. He was like, I'm so sorry, I have to go. Came back, final seconds. And I was like, oh, motherfucker. And then the second week, they were late. I was like, that's 2.
No, that's 2. Strike 3, you're out.
We'll see how they do this weekend.
They can't do it during the Battle of Winterfell. No.
There will be none of that.
I will be making a fortress out of my blankets and pillows.
Smart. Very smart.
Very smart. Phone off on it or airplane mode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Done.
Love.
Last thing I'm processing is that we have a listener. Her name is Kim. And
that's the whole story. We have one listener.
We have one listener. Her name is Kim.
Hey, girl.
Done. This episode, just as an opener, is dedicated to her.
Hi.
Yes, because she's been so amazing.
Yes.
We've been messaging her back and forth on Facebook, and we're obsessed with her and her hubby, who, by the way, is the lawyer handling this case that we're going to talk about today, guys. And if you haven't been jumping on social media, following us on Twitter and Instagram, then we can wait. We're waiting.
How long does it take to follow?
So,
well, I always have to re-download Twitter because I hate it. So every time I'm like, I'll do something on Twitter, I have to wait while it re-downloads from the cloud.
This is taking too long. It's only been 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty cool of me. I'm very tech savvy.
Well, guys, we are going to do a big and very interesting yet spooky episode, of course, because you know how we do. We're going to be doing episode 37, guys, of the Rosenheim Mansion, aka the American Horror Story House, Murder House. Yes, so I know some of y'all got really excited when we posted on Instagram that we were going to do this episode and talk about this house. And I thought, all right, we got to do our homework. We need to do, our due diligence. And we did. And it was so funny because we couldn't come up with any ghosts. It was pretty much like open and shut with like the research for this house. And then finally we're like, wait, we need to talk to Kim. And Kim put us through with her husband, Doug, who is the lawyer handling the case for the current owners of the murder house. And we found out that there's murder house ghosts.
Great. Can't wait.
Amazing. So, you know how we do, guys. We're going to go into the history and the mystery and even talk a little bit about this show craze. What is the meaning of superfan or the fan craze? Because that plays a really big role into what we're going to talk about. And what is the real horror that the current owners are going through with this house? And trust me, it brings up the question that we even asked our listeners on Instagram. Who is worse, like the living or the dead?
Well, real.
And in this case, I think it's the living more than the dead. So buck up, guys, because it's going to get very interesting.
Yes.
We got a lot of tea. We have the interview with Doug, and we have a lot to cover. So you ready for this?
Yes.
All right, guys. So how did the Rosenheim Mansion came to be the Rosenheim Mansion? Well, it started with this gentleman, Alfred Rosenheim. So Alfred Rosenheim is a German-American architect who built the house that is used as the murder house in 1902. And after a 5-year construction, used it as his own residence. And the house is sited on a sloping tree-studded 3/4 acre lot at 1120 Westchester Place in Country Club Park, and the surrounding neighborhood was known as Billionaire Row in 1908.
Sure,
yes.
That checks out.
Billionaire Row now exists in Beverly Hills.
And you know how I feel about billionaires. Love them.
Why can't they adopt us?
I mean, here's the thing. That's right. Surprise rant that no one saw coming. Can we just let's loop back to things that we're processing. Can we just lightly touch on the billions the millions of dollars that have been raised by billionaires to rebuild Notre Dame. And look, far be it from me to say that we can't rebuild whatever the hell we want to rebuild. And that, like, people donating money is good. It is good.
It's amazing.
But, like, it just shows that trickle-down economics doesn't fucking work. Because there are myriad of problems, not just in America. Like, and here's the thing. One of my least favorite arguments, this is really off topic, and I'm so sorry, but I'm not that sorry, is that whenever I would go, like, overseas, especially to do, like, missions work or, like, relief aid, any of those kinds of things, because I'm a saint of. Just kidding. People would always say, especially when I was living in Indiana, but we have issues here. And I agree with that, but I think that as, like, a global community, we should be addressing the issues at a global level as much as humanly possible.
Right.
So I'm not even trying to say, like, there are issues in America that we should be dealing with first before we help, like, rebuild, but there are issues that are affecting real, genuine humans that we should be addressing before we build a building. That's the part that I have, like, an issue with.
Yeah, like, why don't we build more structures for homeless?
There were
homeless
zero
veterans?
Casualties, right? Like, again, I get the significance of the church. Like, I too have been there. It is beautiful. I'm not trying to take it away. Francophiles, like, please stay away from me. Like, I'm not trying to, like, come for your church. But when there are, like, people across the globe and the country and our neighborhoods who need our help, and there are billionaires donating money in a matter of hours to completely refinance it, that is why I think there shouldn't be billionaires. Rant over. I'm so sorry.
Let me pick up my dress and
I
step
know.
down from my soapbox.
I know, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
Everyone's like, we're definitely not going to have a rant this episode. Gotcha.
Tricked you right there.
I'm so sorry. Billionaire realm.
Yeah. Ooh. Yes. So that is, like, you probably have seen it on $1 billion listing on Bravo.
Yes, love.
Yeah, it makes me cringe a little, just a tad bit. I feel what you feel. Yes, every time I watch that show.
Every time.
It's not large enough. I need 8 more rooms, but this is a 13-room mansion. Yeah.
Ugh.
That makes me cringe right there.
Whatever.
So, with some of the wealthiest families living in Billionaire Row at the time in 1908, they included the Del Almo family who lived across the street in the west, the Borden family who lived across the street in the east, the Kinney family who lived across the street from southeast of Billionaire Row, and yes, that is the Abbott Kinney family, who Abbott Kinney designed and built Venice, California, which I'm sure if he was alive today would not be happy with it. I mean, there's syringes in the sand.
Oh, yeah.
Dirty condoms in the sand.
Yeah.
I mean, when people go to Venice, I'm like, brace yourself. Well, I want to go to the beach. I'm like, brace yourself. Make sure you're wearing double socket on your feet, girl, because you don't want to step in that sand.
It depends on what, like, if you want to go and see a really slice of life of, like, California, go to Venice, because you will people watch like you have never people watched before.
Oh.
If you want to go to, like, a beach for, like, nature and the ocean, nope. Go further.
Go to Malibu. Go to Matador, but do not go to Venice. It is, it's a different vibe over there, in my opinion. Well, even the Doheny family lived there.
Okay, hey.
I know, hey, Doheny.
Call back.
So, if you guys don't know anything about the Doheny family, then listen to episode 35 of the Greystone Mansion, another haunted mansion at that. So, Rosenheim was noted for designing and building many amusement parks, as many as 9 roller coasters. And he was one of the most highly respected architects in LA at the time. Alfred Fast Rosenheim opened his practice in the city after years of being a successful designer of residential and commercial structures in St. Louis, Missouri. The home's most distinctive exterior features was a bowed and turreted stair hall lighted by 9 panels of Tiffany stained glass, each in a different design. The house features extensive Italian brickwork, African oak, teak, walnut, maple, and wood paneling made of Peruvian mahogany.
We so fancy.
And we are very fancy around here. So the oversized living room, adorned with tapestries, featured a cross-beam ceiling and an impressive tile fireplace, one of 6 in the home. 6. because they got to be extra.
Sure.
While the dining room used as Ben's office for those American Horror Story fans, that's what it was highlighted with its stunning gold-leafed ceiling and antique Japanese motif with delicate peacocks and flowers, paneled walls, and leaded glass cabinets. I wonder if Alfred was a girl, you know what I mean? Because he had some style.
Yeah.
I think back then in 1908, that was like, wow, Alfred, you went a little, you're a little extra. Other features of the first level included a dramatic semicircular library with a pink blood marble fireplace and built-in Tiffany glass leaded doors, windows, bookcases, as well as a sunny solarium.
Sure, same.
Billionaires.
Yeah.
So, Alfred Rosenheim and his family resided in their Showplace mansion on Westchester Place for 11 years until they sold it in 1918. The wealthiest man in California, a colorful mining magnate, A.J. McWaters, who was the first gay president of the Alvarado Mining and Milling Company in Parral, Chihuahua, Mexico, wanted it to serve as a winter residence and refuge for the continuous turmoil of the revolution in Mexico, of course. Now, A.J. McWaters, Pancho Villa, the president of Mexico, and several of their associates were photographed on many occasions by the Los Angeles Times and several other photographers, while A.J. McWaters did many business transactions with the Mexican government. A.J. McWaters purchased 6.9 million acres, 10,000 square miles of land used for mining gold, silver, copper, lead from the Mexican government, in which Pancho Villa was hired as security to ensure things went smoothly, which I doubt they did.
Sure.
Yeah. Around 1930, the estate picked up some Hollywood pedigree when it was leased by actor Edward Everett Horton. He was one of the most popular and prolific performers of his day. Now, Horton was constantly in demand for his masterful portrayals of the pussy overwrought nervous types that were a staple of film comedy throughout the 1930s and 40s. And in choosing Country Club Park as a place of residence, Horton joined a stellar list of other major Hollywood figures such as Colleen Moore, Buster Keaton, Hal Roach, and Ruth Roland, who all lived in the district at the time or another. Now, the Westchester Place house served as the actor's city's residence while he was working at the studios. Now, by 1932, Horton had given up his lease on the Westchester Place mansion, and the home was taken over by a Catholic order of nuns called the Sisters of Social Service, and they began operating it as a convent. In 1946, they expanded their operations to include the adjacent Judson C. Rives mansion at 1130 Westchester Place, which had also been designed by Rosenheim. And during their long tenure at the combined properties, the sisters had added a large chapel on the grounds in the style that was intended to blend in with the earlier structures. Completed in 1954, the chapel featured similarly colored brick walls and a heavy beamed ceiling soaring over the double height space. In recent years, this ground space has been utilized in much more secular fashion as a recording studio for Planet Earth Records, and the chapel is also used as the attic, wink wink, in American Horror Story. The mansion was badly damaged in the 1994 Northridge earthquake, and the Catholic order decided against repair and put the house on the market for $3 million. Fearing that it might be torn down, local area residents nominated it as a cultural landmark, so the convent unsuccessfully contested this. Now, in 1997, the Rosenheim Mansion was bought by family members and business partners John Gaucha and Greta von Steinbauer. In 1999, the Rosenheim Mansion was decided as a historic and cultural landmark under number 660 by the city of Los Angeles. Also in 1999, John Gaucha and Greta von Steinbauer put the house back on the market. It did not sell, however, and was removed from the real estate market until being relisted recently at $17 million through Babian. So now the mansion is currently owned by Dr. Ernst R. von Swartz and Angela Oakenfold, who is the ex-wife of DJ Paul Oakenfold.
Damn.
And we'll go into what they are currently going through with this house at the moment. Because, Bryce, you have the tea on what made this house what it is today.
Yes. I mean, yeah, and I love that. I love when the community comes together and like, this should be a landmark. Like, that's always such a sweet little...
Yeah.
I love when communities rallied together.
Yeah, like, this is a historical landmark.
Yeah.
Don't tear it down. This is actual piece of history.
Yeah. So, like, the house is, like, sort of famous in its own right, which transition, that's right, I had a plan, the whole sentence. I love in the interview or the director's commentary on the first season of American Horror Story, Ryan Murphy actually talks about this and says, like, the house was the hardest character to cast. Like, everybody knows, like, Connie Britton was, like, the first to sign, and Dylan McDermott was, like, the third. Like, they got the cast together very quickly. Mm-hmm. And, like, with Jessica Lange, like, it was so historical for her because she had never done, like, such a long stint on television. So, like, all of that is, like, all these, like, really big names and, like, oh, wow, like, what an amazing cast. I think it's what's carried the show all these seasons, 8, 9 seasons now. And yet, in the midst of all that, Ryan Murphy's like, oh, the hardest part to cast was the house. And then they found this house. So, just like a little snippet. That's right, the house is a character.
It is.
So, yes, the house sort of gains American Horror Story notoriety. Creators Ryan Murphy and, Brad Falchuk, my bad, began working. I know he will. Began working on American Horror Story actually before they had started on Glee.
Oh wow.
Murphy is quoted as saying that he had wanted to do the opposite of what they had previously done when they began working on this series. He said, "I went straight from Nip Tuck into Glee, so I was looking to do something challenging and dark, and I had always loved, as Brad had, the horror genre, so it was just natural for us." Which I love, because even though Nip Tuck does have some sort of, like, tense moments, it's still pretty, like, campy. Glee, obviously, is Camp Central.
Of course, it's their style.
Yeah.
The music, everything, the acting, the storyline, it all correlates with one another.
Love it.
It's their style.
He just, like, I love that they were looking to do something different. Iconic. So they basically decided that they were going to start working in the horror genre through television, and that their main goal in doing so was to create a series where viewers would be afraid. They said that they wanted people to be a little bit off balance afterwards, which, like, mission accomplished, because most of my nightmares come from American Horror Story Freak Show. That clown is terrifying. I literally had, like, months-long nightmares about that clown.
No way.
Even after, no spoiler, but even after, like, the reveal regarding the clown...
Even worse. You had, like, night terrors.
It didn't take it away. I still was like, I'm still scared. Like, it doesn't matter. It's
but you're
still
scary.
Like,
you're still tuning into the next episode.
Oh, you can't.
Always.
You
can't turn away. Yeah. Especially with certain characters that are definite eye candies.
I mean, look, it is no secret that Ryan Murphy and I share a type, because every dark-haired, blue-eyed actor in Hollywood works on that show.
Yep.
And it is A, Ryan Murphy, please cast me. B, thank you. Thank you for your casting choices.
See, you're welcome.
Yeah, so handsome. So all of that is, like, you know, obviously the whole. Has anyone not seen American Horror Story?
If you haven't, then seriously stop this episode and watch the first episode of season 1, Murder House.
So if anyone hasn't, that's okay. I too have only seen certain episodes because other ones are too scary for me. Know that, like, each season is sort of like a repertory theater. They're playing the same actors are playing many different characters and many different stories. So the house itself actually is in several of the seasons throughout, but that the main story was in the first season, which was just called American Horror Story, but now colloquially is called Murder House because of the theme of the house is, like, rising up against the tenants. But that is not the official title. Like, that is just fans calling it that. And what's that, Tammy, mentioning fans?
Oh, yes.
So that sort of transitions us into part 1 of the trouble for the family who currently owns the mansion.
Yeah. So before we hit on the story, I wanted to learn more about super fans. I wanted to research this craze, because that was a big question in my head. Okay, first, like who's this house? How did it come about? What made this house so famous besides its shows being filmed there? And there was a plethora of TV shows and movies. But I wanted to know more about the fans and what drove them so crazy to the point where they were not only taking pictures in front of the house, but they were breaking into the house. And you'll hear it in Doug's interview. If I had $1 for every time I said, oh my God, I was just so like shocked with the stuff that he was telling me of like how far these fans went just to take a picture, just to get onto the property.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for the couple.
Yeah.
So today's superfans are everywhere. They cheer for and fawn over sports teams and boy bands, K-pop bands, celebrities, TV shows, and comic books, among other things. But there are good reasons why humans tend to do this. There is a good reason. And according to Will Pearson and Mangesh Hedekouture, tackle this intriguing topic in an episode of the podcast Part-Time Genius titled What It Takes to Be a Superfan.
Hi.
Will and Mango say most people are casual fans, not super fans. What's the difference? A casual fan of, for example, Game of Thrones might spend, a good 7 hours binging on the show, and the super fan might spend an additional 20 plus hours, not only binge watching every freaking season of the show, but also listening to podcasts that dissect each episode of the show, going as far as traveling to the locations of the show. Now, what makes some people so obsessed? First, self-presentation, says Will. For instance, wearing certain clothes at Dragon Con conventions, painting your face on game day, or consuming certain media. These conscious choices send a message about the kind of people we are or want to be or strive to be. But is the signal mainly for ourselves or for the people around us? A study by psychotherapist Teresa Stern concluded that a community of fans provides a comfortable space for people to come to grips with their identities without being judged. This can also help them to build their own self-esteem. We all want that sense of belonging, says Mango, and fandom just seems like one way of doing that. But when does being a superfan go too far? And according to the new homeowners of the Rosenheim Mansion, there are quite a few that have gone way beyond the limits. They found this out the hard way, just barely a month moving in, that they not only purchased the mansion, but they purchased the American Horror Story murder house. So this couple moves in 2015. They buy it from the last owners that I mentioned right over here, which was John Gauschow and Greta von Steinbauer. And they purchased the house, I want to say, for $3 million or $3.2 million. And they bought this house in 2015. Mind you that Dr. Ernst R. von Schwartz and Angela Oakenfold, this is the current couple, they had no idea of the fandom that was attached to the mansion. They had they'd never seen, American Horror Story, which I'm kind of baffled.
Sure.
I'm sure they're like one of those people that like watches like Downton Abbey or maybe like Roadside Antique Show.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the show, Roadside Antiquing?
Antiques Roadshow?
Yeah, Antiques Roadshow. I feel like they're the type of couple that watches that.
I love that show.
I'm all about that vintage, mahogany rich, book.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe even if they had like ever heard of it, I don't know. Like, how could you explain to somebody,
right?
This is like an important house to a show. Like, what? What the hell are you talking about?
That is it right there. They're suing the brokers and the sellers because they didn't disclose that when they purchased it. They didn't disclose the fact that the house was used in this very famous show, this very popular show. And they also didn't disclose other things that we're going to listen to in Doug Vanderpool's interview. So for some of you guys who are out of the loop with what's going on, they're currently right now in a lawsuit against the estate, claiming they did not disclose that this mansion was used in TV series, and the lawsuit, which names the real estate agent and the broker for the sale of the Greta von Steinbauer estate, is claiming breach of contract and fraudulent concealment in an amount of damages up to $3 million. Filed in Superior Court of California on February 7th, the lawsuit claims, unbeknownst to the plaintiffs and not disclosed by defendants, hundreds of fans of the TV show would come to the property, trespass, attempt to break in, and create a significant nuisance not only for the seller, but for the neighbors as well. Additionally, the lawsuit claims that the plaintiffs didn't disclose structural issues with the estate, saying the property has significant leaks, water intrusion, and even mold, which is a bitch to get out.
Yeah, Jesus.
Especially for that large house. So, guys, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of this story and this lawsuit and the ghosts, we're going to jump into the paranormal aftermath, because I had the opportunity to speak with Doug. Thank you, Kim.
Hi.
And it was just such an amazing interview with him. He was just so awesome and just willing to answer any questions that I had. So here is our interview with Doug Vanderpool, guys.
Hey.
Hi, Doug. Hello, it's me, Tammy from Hollyweird Paranormal.
Hello, Tammy from Hollyweird Paranormal.
Oh my God, this is so amazing! I can't believe I'm speaking with you. For one thing, you and Kim are #goals, #adorable. I saw your pictures on Facebook. Bryce and I were obsessing over it.
Yeah, we love New Orleans, I tell you.
New Orleans, Egypt, camels, yes.
We get around. She likes to travel.
Just a little bit, just a little traveling here and there.
Hither and thither. We got the kids out the door now. We get to have fun.
That's exactly what my parents did when me and my sisters moved out as well. So props to you guys, for sure. So I guess let's just jump into it. This is so exciting. So you are still working on this case, the American Horror Story murder house case, right?
Oh, yeah. Still going on. Yep. We had a trial date that was coming up pretty quickly, and then the defendants went in, got another set of attorneys, and got the trial date continued out to November, I believe. So, so they've now got 3 different law firms defending Coldwell Banker.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. No, it's a good case. I mean, they poo-poo it, but it's, once you dig into the kind of danger and damage that these really super obsessed fans can cause, it's pretty amazing. I mean, it's not just an annoyance. It can be dangerous.
So let's start from here. Let's start with your law office. So you have your own law office. It's called Doug Vanderpool Law Offices, and you specialize not only in personal injuries, real estate disputes, and litigation, but you also handle just you just dabble everywhere around. Is that correct?
If a problem comes in, we try and solve it. Generally representing businesses and individuals. Somebody come and sit in a chair and they say, "Here's my problem. Can you solve it?" So that's kind of the way I look at my practice and my life. I like to think I'm a problem solver. If I can't handle it, if it's something like I don't do criminal law, I don't do several different areas of law. It's just those are areas where you really have to focus. I will refer them out to somebody who I think is an expert. Like, for example, if I got charged with a crime, I have 3 different attorneys I would call. That's who I would refer out cases to. But everything else, we think we can handle it here. It's the gamut.
Well, it seems like you guys are doing such a great job. And you, from what I've researched, you have a slew of accolades online. And you've held and handled a lot of major cases in the past as well. Is this one of your biggest cases, or kind of just a walk in the park for you?
Well, this one is very interesting. It isn't your normal client calls me up and says, "Hey, this vendor screwed me, go sue them." That's your typical day-to-day stuff. Or "Hey, this vendor screwed me over, I'm not paying him." It's usually chasing money or somebody's trying to get money they're not entitled to. But yeah, this is a sexy case. It helps the fact that Kim is a big fan of the show, and it's one of the more interesting cases. I wouldn't say in terms of dollars it's the biggest case. I know what our ask is going to be. But it's a 7-figure case easily, very easily.
Oh wow! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So let's start from the very beginning. You're in your law office. You're doing law office things. You're doing your lawyer things. And how were you contacted? How did you get involved with the case? I'm looking at my notes. This case came up in 2018. It's been going on for a year, right?
Yeah. So what happened was I belong to an organization out here in Orange County called the Orange County Trial Lawyers, and it's basically a plaintiff's attorney organization. So a lot of guys doing personal injury or plaintiff employment stuff. It's a plaintiff's organization. Since I do a lot of that kind of work, I join it, and I'm actually on the board of directors and the executive committee. But long story short, a friend of mine in the organization is friends with Dr. Ernst and Angela and had represented him in a couple little things. But when this case came up, he doesn't really concentrate in real estate law and real estate litigation, which is really my bread and butter. So he referred it over to me, and that's why I meant the Dr. Ernst and Angela.
Oh, I see. So it's just like, just 6 degrees of separation right there. And they purchased the house in 2000 and when? I think it was 2016 or 2017, I believe.
I believe it was 2015. Hold on, let me check my notes real fast. I think it was. Let me see here. 20. Escrow closed in March of 2015.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they bought it for about $3.3 million.
Mm-hmm.
And they moved in, and the very next day, they're sitting in the living room, and someone was banging on their window saying, "Hey, can I come in the house? I want to see the house."
Oh, my God.
And it just started from there.
Oh,
They're
my
like,
God.
What the hell is this?
Well, now that you jumped onto the subject of what they were going through, can you walk us through, I guess, some of their complaints and, I guess, their grievances with this house so far?
Sure. So here's what's unique about this particular show and the fans. So, I mean, the house is historic.
Right.
It's been used in hundreds of different TV shows and movies, all the way back to John Wayne. I mean, this house has been featured in a lot of movies, but you don't get this type of fan. It's the same kind of fans you'll get from that not Ghostbusters. It's
Ghost Adventures.
one of those type of shows. So those, you get people who truly believe in the paranormal and ghosts, and they're a little bit more. I'm trying to be politically correct here. Obsessive about the subject matter.
Right.
So this isn't the first house to have this kind of a problem. We've got an expert who is an expert. And these kind of houses, they call it stigmatized. So there's a good example. I don't know if you followed Breaking Bad when that was out, but his house there was an episode where someone went by and threw a pizza on the roof. Do you remember that episode?
Yes, I remember that episode, and I read an article about that fans were now throwing pieces and slices of pizza onto the homeowner's roof, and it got pretty bad.
Every single day.
Oh, no.
Every single day.
Oh, my
so
God.
That house is now stigmatized. And so the law in California, in fact, most of the country is when you sell a property, you have to disclose everything about the property. It's not buyer beware. It's seller. You got to tell the buyer everything that could be, potentially affect the decision to purchase. So now the owner of that property, the Breaking Bad property, has to disclose to any buyer that, hey, you're going to have pizza thrown on your roof practically every day. Now, that's going to lower the purchase price, isn't it? Correct. It's going to diminish the value. Now, there are properties like that across the country, but the most comparable property in the United States that we found is a house in Las Vegas, and I believe it's actually called the Murder House. You can Google it. There's videos. Our expert in our case was the expert in that case. So that house was a mob house, and allegedly there was a room where they would make the guys. You come in and now you're a made man, and then the next room is where they would murder people.
Oh.
And so that house was the focus of one of those ghost hunter shows, and once it became known, well, people started breaking in and having seances and vandalizing and doing all sorts of weird shit, like almost burning the place to the ground at one point.
Oh, my
so
God.
The property was, so these are dangerous people. The expert said he had a gun when he went in the house because he thought there was, squatters in there.
Of course.
So that's the kind of thing that you're dealing with. I mean, there's all the famous houses you can think of, the Amityville Horror House, and any house that's been sort of featured is almost the star of any, one of these paranormal movies or TV shows, is going to have some obsessive fans, people who want to either just stop by and take a picture, which is innocuous. That's typical. All the way to I'm breaking in, I'm stealing shit, I have to go inside, I want to see a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads us up to the Rosenheim Mansion of my client. So when American Horror Story Murder House first aired, and I believe it was 2011. I think it was 2011. Almost immediately, fans of the show started to show up on the property. Now, how do we know this? Well, Instagram. We've got Instagram reports from practically the week after the show first aired of somebody standing on the front porch. So the prior owner was a lady named Greta von Steinbauer. She purchased the property many, many years ago. She was an older lady, and she had a companion named John Gaucher, and they lived there. And we've got thousands of Instagram and other social media postings showing that as soon as the show aired, that the house was just inundated. He had to buy a gun. They put signs up. There's people get chased off. So this fan issue was a huge problem. It was known. They knew it. So when my clients made the offer on the house, neither the real estate agent, who also knew about the fans, nor the sellers disclosed this issue. My clients definitely wouldn't have bought the property if they knew it was inundated by these crazy fans every day. Mm-hmm. And it is every day. And I don't know if you've seen some of the news reports that, for example, we were on Good Morning America when the case was first filed, and you can see video of a trash truck driver who these three girls talked into lifting them up in his trash bin, in the trash truck.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's plenty of video out there that you can see.
I have to find that video, yes.
I can send you the link if you want to give me your email later.
Oh, for sure. We'll share details, info and everything later. That is insane. Oh my God, the level of crazy right there.
It's a different level. I mean, people showing up on the street, Hollywood tours of famous houses have been going on forever, but it's generally, you pull up in front of the house, you take a picture, and you move on to the next one. These fans take it a step further, although a lot of them are very respectful. They just take the pictures. There are a certain number of them that are super obsessed with getting onto and into the property. And my clients put up no trespassing and keep out signs, and they stole them. They stole the sign.
Oh,
they want a piece of brick off of the facade. The hedge was set on fire last month. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh
it's
my gosh. There's also
break-ins.
Break-ins. That's what I read too last year, that someone broke into their house through the kitchen, and that's when they're like, okay, this has to stop. We need to seek some sort of action. We need to put their guns.
It probably won't stop until the show is over. Unfortunately, it's entering the 9th season, so it's this is something they're going to have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another problem: is the city of Los Angeles. This is a historic neighborhood, and the house itself is a historic landmark. Right. So there's really strict requirements that the city has to maintain, its appearances. So my clients, when they moved in, there was no fence. Anybody could just walk right up to the front door. So my clients put up a chain link fence. That didn't keep people out. They put up barbed wire, and the city said take that down. In fact, the city says take down all fencing. We're going to allow 4-foot kind of nice little, scenic fence. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's not going to stop anybody. No. So we're in a fight on top of everything else. We're in a fight with the city of Los Angeles about fencing.
Oh God.
It's really unfortunate. I mean, they only live there part time now just because it is, they have a little baby and they just don't feel safe anymore in the house.
Oh no. Now, I know in certain counties, like if you live in an historic building, such as, for example, from what I heard, Glendale, I heard that if a house is, deemed historic and someone wants to go in and tour it, that they can ask permission, from the owner to go inside their, their personal home, their historic home, to tour it. Is that the case here in LA County as well, or it's just completely different? Where
there's no right to tour the house. That's a private property. I'm assuming you could open it up, and the house is being monetized. They're not just sitting there on their hands doing nothing. They've they've leased it, I think, at least 7 or 8 times for different TV shows, including, I think 2 seasons ago, American Horror Story went back and kind of did a flashback to season 1. They somehow tied it in.
Yes, the last
and they approached,
season, yeah.
they approached us and said, can we film there? And, our initial instincts were no. I mean, the last thing we need is more fans. But American Horror Story's producer said, we're going to use the exterior shots no matter what, and we'll just build sets. So you can either get paid. Either way, your house is going to be featured. And so they huddled up. We thought about it and said, look, there's really nothing we can do. We might as well, get paid and, sort of mitigate our damages. So they did allow that. And, from time to time, it'll be used for a video shoot or a TV show.
Right. So walk us through some of the other complaints. Now, it seems like the owners are not only complaining about their corporeal nuisances, but it seems like there's something else, I guess, otherworldly that is, creating some disturbances within the house. And it's not just the living, but it seems like to be the dead. According to your wife, Kim, from what she told me, they're experiencing hauntings. Is that correct?
That is correct. So there's a dispute with, we sued the sellers. We sued Greta's estate. Now, Greta has passed away, so we'll never get her testimony. But we've got other people who will testify that Greta clearly knew the house was haunted. They were not, mean or evil spirits. I think one is a butler that they see going up and down the stairs, and I think there's a little girl. But the center of the paranormal activity seems to be the basement, which I've been in twice, and it's pretty creepy down there. But again, the fact that the house is considered to be haunted was not disclosed, and that's the problem. So Greta's companion is John Gaucher, or I've been calling him Gotcha. It's G-O-C-H-A. Now that guy, you can Google him on the internet. He clearly thought the house was haunted. We've got emails from him where he described specifically, experiences he had in the house, and he's got some crazy stories to tell. So again, none of this was disclosed to my clients, but they were asleep the first night they slept there. They thought someone had broken in because they were hearing footsteps right outside in the hallway, and they opened up the door and there's no one there. And so they started to ask around, and sure enough, they found out that the house is reportedly haunted. And they've experienced little things like that, hearing footsteps, seeing some vague apparitions, stuff like that. But the funny thing is, when they moved in, they had like direct TV or the cable company. Somebody came to do some work in the basement. I think the electrician and a TV guy were down there. Mm-hmm. And within 5 minutes, both these Studley contractors came running up the stairs and said, "We're not working down there anymore. Bye." Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what is the rule, or are there any laws that state that not only are you supposed to, disclose information if someone dies in a home or house, but what are sellers required to disclose in terms of, if the property is haunted? Are there any California state laws that require sellers to disclose that information or not?
There's a good case out of New York, so every state's different. In New York, there is a case right on point that says if you have information that a house is haunted, or indeed if you've been advertising that the house is haunted, you better disclose it. You have to. California, there is no specific case on that point, but the rule is you have to disclose anything material. Now, this is where people start rolling their eyes. There's no such thing as ghosts and haunt bullshit. But you're from New Orleans. We walk around New Orleans and we see real estate signs advertising that either
it's haunted,
house is haunted,
exactly,
or house. We saw one that says house not haunted. This last time we were there. Yeah. So again, this is more of the sexier part of the story, clearly, but I don't think the monetary value is there because my expert's not going to go, well, here's a haunted house, because you either believe it or you don't. Mm-hmm. Whereas I can clearly monetize the value of 100 fans coming on my property every day. That's real, and I can catch on camera, and we can compare it to what other homes have, if they've been stigmatized, what the diminution in value is. So we're still making the claim. I'm not sure I'm going to pursue it at trial. I haven't made up my mind yet, but it is in reality, it's something that my clients are experiencing.
Right.
And I think we would have to disclose it if we sold the house. Now, would that sort of make the value go up to a certain class of buyer? Maybe. But it looks like Greta and the prior owners, it looks like they had some pie-in-the-sky ideas of what the house was worth after American Horror Story first aired. They thought that they could appeal to somebody who was a big fan of the show and thought they might come in and buy a haunted house. I mean, they were asking $7 million, $15 million. They were asking some really ridiculous numbers. And no one bought. I mean, this house was put on the market 20 times and no one bought it. Until my clients bought it.
Until they bought it. Now they kind of regret it.
Yeah, you could say that.
I mean, what do you see, with the future of this lawsuit? Do you feel like they are going to win this case, or you think that they are going to put up a really, really good fight? What do you think?
Well, Coldwell Bank, so we settled with the seller's estate. So Greta, she passed a couple years ago. In fact, the interesting thing is Dr. Ernst was her doctor for a while, so he knew her. The estate had minimal assets and no insurance, so we settled with them a couple months ago for, it's confidential, but it wasn't a seven-figure number, let's put it that way. We're definitely looking for seven figures plus from Coldwell Banker. So just one aspect alone, just the fans alone, diminishes the property value $1.25 million. That's what our comparables are. So that's a solid number, and I'm very, very bullish on that. We've also got some non-disclosure items about the condition of the property itself. So it's a Mills Act property, which means it's historical property, but along with that comes certain requirements that you do repairs. Now, Greta signed a contract with the city of Los Angeles many moons ago saying she was going to do all these repairs, and in exchange she got these fantastic tax breaks. In reality, she didn't do any of the repairs. We were provided a bunch of reports that a prior potential buyer had prepared, just handed over, but there's a lot of stuff that was missing in those gaps. So it's a little bit more of a complicated issue in terms of trying the case to show, but we're now stuck with a repair bill on this house of about $1.5 million. So, you put the fans together along with this new repair bill, you're looking at a $3 million claim.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm pretty bullish on it.
It states here that under the Mills Act, like the new owners will have to pay like had to pay the $10,000 in property taxes compared to the $50,000 or more that they would pay without the act if the home were to sell for a listing price of, I guess, 3+ or 4+ million. But
yeah, we're still working with the city of Los Angeles on that. The city hasn't gone nuclear on us because I think they understand the position that my clients are in, but it's something that we're going to have to resolve. So hopefully we can get this lawsuit tried and get my clients some money. They can fix up the house, resolve the fence issue, and maybe sell it. We just don't know what we're going to do. They're in a bad place right now. This is not a position I'd want any of my clients in.
Of course. Well, it seems like they're gonna come out in a positive angle. They're gonna come out, in a better light. I guess they have to see a little bit of the dark before they see a little bit of the light, in my opinion. But based on, based on our discussion, I feel like they have a pretty good case, and they'll come out, with what they deserve, of course.
Well, I don't take cases to lose them.
Well, thank you so much, Doug, for speaking with us. Speaking to me. Bryce, my co-host, is currently working at his other job, far, far away from Hollywood. But thank you so much. I do have one question. Do you believe in the paranormal? Do you believe in ghosts?
Well, I've seen a couple ghosts.
Okay, I have 5 more minutes. Please share. I always ask our interviewees to share their ghost stories. What is your first or your most memorable ghost story that you can share with the listeners?
I was in New Orleans.
Hell yes.
At the historic W, the one down in the French Quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And we had gone out to dinner, and we were coming back down the hallway, and I heard a loud bang, like as loud as day, right behind my head. And I turned around and looked, and there was a gentleman standing there. As clear as day. It wasn't foggy or anything. There was a guy standing there, and he was dressed. The best way I can describe it is like Colonel Sanders, that he had the goatee, he had the southern suit, and he looked at me and he winked, and I turned back to Kim and I said, "Do you see that?" And we both turned around and he was gone. So that's the most clear one I've ever seen. I've seen, mostly in New Orleans, we've seen a young lady come through the door, but more as a floating apparition. And come over to the side of the bed and sigh, and then leave. And that was in, gosh, I wish I could remember the name of that hotel. But there is a story. The story is that there is a ghost on the property, and it was a woman who committed suicide off the roof as she was waiting for her lover. I can't quite remember what the story is, but I saw that one. Kim has seen a little girl in one of the other hotels there.
Yeah, she told me about that one in her message. I think it was the Iberville Suites, which is next to the Ritz-Carlton. But yeah, she was like messaging us and telling us that she had a slew of ghost stories, especially from New Orleans. I would say that you guys are definitely, I guess together, you guys attract all that energy, 100%.
It must be. I think the guy in the W, the one that made us leave the W, we didn't leave that first night. The next day we were walking down the stairs in the courtyard, and I had a small cigar in my mouth, and Kim saw it. It was as if someone grabbed the cigar and threw it. It flew down the stairs. It felt like someone tugged it out of my mouth. So we checked out that day.
You're like, I couldn't even enjoy a cigar in the hotel, so we're checking out.
Someone was fucking with me.
Well, thank you so much, Doug, for sharing. Oh my God, you guys are so awesome. I could tell in your pictures, you guys are just one hell of a couple. Can you adopt me and Bryce and take us on these trips with you and Kim? Yes, please.
Of course.
Oh,
yes, sure.
Perfect.
Just get in line.
Well, thank you once again, Doug. We really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and just like talking ghosts and talking law and talking about the American Horror Story murder house case. We really appreciate it.
Sure. If you got any other questions, give me a call or drop me an email.
Oh, will do. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sexy case.
I love it.
When one door closes in the house and another one opens, that means your damn house is haunted.
Gooped.
I know. I wonder, like, I could just see, like, in his law office, like, Lady Gaga from, American Horror Story Hotel. Just working as the paralegal.
Yeah.
I could
She's
just
really
totally
getting
see
into
that.
her role.
I know.
Just doing research.
I'm gonna marry the night.
I love it. That's never going to clear his eye. Can we just start with the most important part of this whole interaction?
Uh-huh.
How dare people waste pizza by throwing it on the roof of the Breaking Bad house when they could be mailing it to me? How dare they? That is...
Well, you know what, Bryce? What you have in common with the fans of the American Horror Story house is that they're lighting the front lawn on fire, and you're just like, if it's haunted, burn it.
Real. Like, if it is haunted, it's got to go.
Up in flames.
I don't care how much Tiffany glass there is. That's right. Nothing is sacred. The phenomena of super fandom is so fascinating to me. But I don't necessarily understand where people's destructive tendencies get like rolled up into that. I think about like the Joshua Tree vandalisms that have happened that will take like 400 years to recover. I think about like all these super bloom pictures that I see. So many of my friends posting. I'm like, I like you as a person, but you fucking idiot, get off the flowers. Like, people that I like, people that I know, people that are probably listening to this podcast. If you think I'm talking about you, I am. Like, if there's a picture of you on your Instagram and you're sitting on a flower, I think you're a fucking idiot. And it's the same thing. Like, there's like a sort of cultural aspect, especially in the South, you know, talking about New Orleans, and where you take a tour of a home, take a tour of a plantation. That's like a very cultural kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there's like a way to do that. I think the difference between someone like knocking on the door and being like, can I tour your home? There is like cultural and like, as he was mentioning, like legal precedent for that.
Yeah.
If you are entering onto property, vandalizing, stealing, trying to break in, you're a sack of shit. Like, there is no two ways about it. I don't care how much you like the show. So, like, again, my earlier rant. Far be it from me to feel bad for, like, wealthy people. But at the same time, they actually are humans, and I'm mostly joking, and it's unacceptable. Like, you can't just break into these people's homes, and even if someone wasn't living there, if it was just, like, an unused film set, who the hell do you think you are? Like, those women in the dumpster being lifted up.
Yeah, so we have that video, guys. We posted it on our Instagram, and it's not just them in the trash truck. It's this other video of this gentleman just climbing over the metal fence. He's acting like, I think he's posing as a dead body in front of the house. And then he's fucking listening to John Mayer on his iPhone and singing and just sitting on the front porch, just like he owns the damn place.
Like, does common decency just not exist?
No, it doesn't. Because if you remember from our Rebel Without a Cause episode, The Curse, people were vandalizing James Dean, his like gravestone. They even stole his gravestone. If you go see Jim Morrison's, you know, memorial or his little, you know, gravesite in Paris, that's also like tagged up and destroyed. And so on and so forth. It's just like when people are super fans, they just take it to another extreme. It's like they have to leave their mark on someone or something to just as a self-validation. Like, I was here and I'm in some weird way, this is how I'm honoring it, you know, which I just find so disturbing. That's why throughout the whole interview, I'm like, oh my God.
I know.
Like, oh my, because I heard about like, okay, they were, you know, going on the front lawn. I heard about the case of the break-in through the kitchen.
Jesus Christ.
But when he was going in depth about the other things, the stealing of the trespassing signs, the breaking of the fence, I mean, this couple has a child. That has got to be scary, especially for, you know, Angela Oakenfold as a mom. Like, you are taking care of your infant. You know, you're going through your first 6 months, and then you have to worry about people breaking into your house. Like,
it's asinine. And there's the statement of like, well, we're gonna film your house whether you like it or not, is so gross. I mean, if you want to know what the movie industry is like in a nutshell, that's it right there.
That's it. What, you know, this is what Hollywood and money.
It's a machine, and it's, you know, churning. It's just churning through people. Like, you wonder why these like celebrities are burning out. You wonder why like Britney Spears is like back in rehab and like a mental institution.
Free Britney.
But like, do you want to know why it is? It's because of things like this, where it's like, oh, it doesn't matter what you want. We're going to do whatever we want, and you can make some money off of it. So like, I hope you feel okay with like low key pimping yourself out, or you can not get anything from it. So like, the lesser of two evils, and then these people have mental breakdowns. Like, my like petty self is like, they should have fumigated the house and had it covered in tarps. They should have fucked with production. They should have planted trees to cover the entire facade of the house. Like, fuck you. You don't get to tell me what I can and can't do with my house.
Well, here's another thing that occurred too in 2014 before they purchased the house. The house, because of its fandom, was being used as an Airbnb for the first, I think for 8 months. The house was being rented out as an Airbnb. You could rent the house for I think it was $4,500 a night. Jesus. So if you and 20 other people wanted to like spend the night in this mansion, you just had to shell out $4,500 to spend the night in the mansion. And that went on for 8 months, and people spent the money and spent the night in this mansion just to spend the night. And then they just totally took that off of Airbnb. They put it on the market, and they come in. The new owners, they purchased it for $3+ million. And then, you know, not only were they dealing with the fans, but they were also dealing with like the disrepairs and also the ghosts, the hauntings. And I remember reading an interview about them that at first they were saying, oh yeah, we were told that the house is haunted. We don't believe in ghosts. And then like they did a post interview. Yeah, there's shit going on. There's something here. So I went to dig and dig and dig about the paranormal aftermath and the cause of the paranormal aftermath with this mansion. And I couldn't come up with anything. I don't know what was the cause, especially with the basement. Was there a murder? Nothing. I went on, who died in my house? Nothing was attached to this house. Any drama with the people that lived in it or leased it? Well, we had an awesome listener who hit us up on the gram, of course.
Love.
And I'm going to pull up her information right over here. But she asked us if we needed help to, research anything. I was like, can you help me figure out, the hauntings of this place? And here it is. I think it's Jamie Mousen, a.k.a. Gandhi Lux. So thank you so much. So she reached out to me, asked for help, and I was like, yeah, please help us, because I just don't know where to begin with this with this mansion. So according to her, Edward Everett, the actor that leased the house in the 30s, was a collector of weird and cursed items.
Sure, you gotta collect something.
1930s Antique Roadshow right there. So anything haunted and weird and cursed, he went and bought it, and maybe some of those things or some of those artifacts made their way into the house. Now, what occurred in the basement? And the basement, according to Doug, has a lot of energy. And I went and researched. I can't find anything in regards to the basement. But according to some psychics and other articles, they believe that there's a vortex in the basement. Oh. That psychics, whenever they come near the house, they go crazy. They're like, get me away. Take me far away from this house, because this house is there's something off about this house. So I went online to, first off, try to contact John Gaucha. And one of the stories that he had written in regards to the house, when he was living there, he claims that he walks past the laundry room with the washer machine on, and he also claimed that he can hear people having conversations as clear as day, even though no one is in the room. So according to John Gaucha and Greta von Steinberg, according to them, there's no negative energy there. In terms of the butler and the little girl spirit, there have been claims of, the owners hearing a little girl giggle running up and down the hallway. They see an apparition of a butler going up and down the stairs. If you remember from our Greystone Mansion episode, Steve, who was the groundskeeper, the head groundskeeper of that mansion, saw his first apparition of a butler going down the staircase. Ugh. And it was probably most likely a residual haunting where, God, I would love to have a butler, because you would have a butler even in the afterlife, because they're still working. Yeah. Maybe this guy is still working. He's going up and down the stairs, bringing, doing his duties or whatnot. I know. As for the little girl, I really don't know. That is a big, big mystery there, too.
Maybe it's the energy manifesting into that energy. You know what I mean? Maybe the cumulative, there's a lot that's being poured into this house in terms of, fan energy, historical energy,
film energy,
all of it.
We spoke about this too. We keep on bringing up our past episodes, but haunted theaters. Why are theaters haunted? Because at times, we don't know what we carry. We don't know what other powers or psychic powers we carry, and those powers can manifest whenever we, for example, go on stage and act and kind of express our fears, our pains, our excitement. Maybe that's what's going on in this house, that it's absorbing all that energy from the acting and whatnot. So who knows?
Or even just the land itself, where it's built on. Who knows? Any of those, just because there's not a specific incident. Yeah. Who knows what's manifesting based on our interference? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once again, we ruin everything.
I did find this other article pretty interesting, and this was an interview with Evan Peters.
Oh, hey, Evan.
Thirsty. So Evan Peters was asked about the house and how it was, what it was like to be, working in, the Rosenheim Mansion. So Evan Peters quotes, "It's terrifying. It's a real house in LA that's old and creepy, and there's actually a chapel connected to it. The whole atmosphere there is really terrifying and uncomfortable. They built the inside of the house on the sound stages so you could go there and it looks pretty identical," which is true. "How much do you shoot in the actual house?" he was asked. Evan Peters replies, "We were there for the whole pilot Now, just the exterior shots. We heard some noises and stuff shooting, but that's to be expected in a 3-story house with an attic. It's just a creepy house. It's so terrifying with that wood everywhere. I would never, ever want to live in that house.
Right. Damn.
End quote. Yes. So he felt creepy vibes in that house.
Poor Evan.
I know. I would love to embrace him. Like, come over here. Give me a hug.
We saw him.
That's right.
With Dr. Shiloh.
Yes, we were having brunch with Dr. Shiloh and Dr. Scott from LA Not So Confidential. We had a Tinder date. So
it was so fun, but I was mean mugging what's her name the whole
Emma
time.
Roberts.
Emma Roberts the whole time.
I have some stories.
Yeah, gotta love her.
Yes.
Free Evan Peters. God.
Yes, they're still together, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they're still like engaged. I think they've been engaged for like a decade or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Well.
And he's hot, damn it. So.
Well, and, you know, I'll try and keep my rants to a minimum.
That's another episode.
We're going to lose
there.
all our viewers. Like, why won't he stop? I can't.
Well, guys, this is our episode of the Rosenheim Mansion.
Good.
Let us know what you think. Let us know if you've heard any other stories tied to the house, not just American Horror stories, but anything else that you can dig up. Much appreciated. I tried to contact John. Gotcha. I've emailed him 3 times. And
I'm sure he's just inundated, though.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, come on, dude. Like, what's going on? But once again, thank you so much to Kim and Doug Vanderpool.
Thank you so much.
Please adopt us. Thank you. Now we go into our spiritual bays of the week. Hey. Of course, this whole entire episode is dedicated to the Vanderpools.
I know.
Mainly
Obsessed.
our queen, Kim, of course. Thank you so much, guys. I mean, it really means a lot that you did this for us, so thank you so much. And thank you, Kim, for listening to our episodes, and let us know the next time you're going to New Orleans. Yeah, so I could bring Bryce, because it will be his first time.
I just want to eat every po' boy in the city.
I just want to see your face when you have your first daiquiri.
Oh my god.
Walking down the street,
Hilarious.
sipping on your daiquiri.
It really is
in your
so
Skechers.
On brand for me. It is my truest
Seeing
self.
your face as I'm telling you, everywhere you're walking is haunted.
Love it. Can't wait.
Even that gum on the floor is haunted. A big thank you to our gal pal Gandhi Lux, Jamie Mounson. Sorry if we butchered your name, but thank you so much for reaching out to us and helping us and researching. We really do appreciate it. And without you guys, we wouldn't
so sweet. Thank you.
Doing this episode. So thank you so much. If you love Hollyweird Paranormal, guys, please don't forget to rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Woo. If you want to get into communication with us or want to summon us, you can go on our social medias.
You can throw a pizza on a roof.
You can throw a pizza on Bryce's roof. You just have to Google his address.
Oh, God.
I know. Just make sure it's all cheese, and more cheese.
Please, I already have a raccoon on my roof right now. If you add pizza to it,
What is going on with that? I'm sorry. We're going to have to cut this. If you follow Bryce on Instagram, you will not be bored.
Let's just say my white trash roots are really coming out. I'm like one pair of jean cutoff shorts away from being like a full-on trailer park.
What is going on? That's the real horror right there.
Yeah, there's a raccoon on our roof, and it is like rabid. I mean,
no.
It is like I woke up 2 nights ago at 3 o'clock, and it is just tearing at the shingles on our roof and screaming, just like wow.
You haven't called animal control?
Well,
or pest
so
control?
That's the thing is that like last week it happened and our landlord came and he was like, well, if it happens, just try and like spray it with a hose.
Oh.
Thanks. So then like I go out there and it's honestly like terrifying and it's massive. I saw it last night.
They're huge.
It's big. And I'm like, I am
There's
not
a
trying to
couple in
get
our
attacked
neighborhood, too.
by like a fucking raccoon. And little fun fact, the city of Los Angeles doesn't have animal control services any longer. So it's like privatized, which I have, again, so many thoughts about. I don't believe in privatization, but sure. So our landlord, then we called him again today because it happened last night around 10, so a little bit earlier. And again, the same thing. And this time I could actually see it. So the first night I couldn't see it. I could just hear it. And it's just ripping.
No.
And the second night, it was kind of in the roof between our car park and the actual roof. So there's like a space you can see. And I mean, it's just thrashing and screaming back and forth. Like, rah, 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 rah.
I think every house has its horrors.
I know.
Every house has its horrors.
So basically,
pizza at the Raccoon,
our landlord
and then more
came.
will show up.
Yeah, right. Our landlord showed up today because I had called a company and I canceled it because he has set a trap, but he is pretty sure that there's like babies in the attic, and the problem is that once they're in your attic, it's a whole different ball game. Like trying to get them out of the nest. So, and like, I'm not trying to kill a baby raccoon. Like, I mean, I grew up in the country, so we grew up shooting rodents. That's just the way it is, like, when you live on an abandoned farm.
Yeah.
So, like, it's funny because I'm pretty anti-gun, but I understand the need for them. Like, you can't have groundhogs and possums and raccoons, like, in your yard. You will get Lyme disease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, we would shoot sparrows. Like, again, I'm not trying to, like, super politicize this, but it just, like, is so crazy because in the city, obviously, you can't do that. So my instinct is, like, well, just, like, kill it. Like, you can't. And I don't want to, but I don't want to pay for damages to a house that's not mine either. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Our landlord's so chill. He's the greatest guy. So we have, like, those humane, like, cube traps set, like, in the attic. So hopefully it'll catch. And then he'll be able to, like, take it and relocate it. But the problem is, like, if you catch the one and it has babies, it will be coming back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it's like a little crawl space attic. It's not like we have all this space where we can, like, look around to, like, get them out. So, you know, he's the landlord. So we're going to let him try and deal with it. And then if in, like, a couple days it's still going, I'm going to call this other company.
Oh, no.
But, yeah, if you follow me on Instagram and watch my story, it's basically just me shirtless in my kitchen listening to a raccoon scream for bloody murder.
It is.
Yeah.
I was like, is your house haunted?
Nope, just a raccoon.
Just a raccoon.
So much less cool. I know.
All right. Well, if you want to summon us or, like, follow Bryce at Smirking Assassin on Instagram right there again. So if you guys want to summon us or contact us, we are always happy for that. You can stalk us on Instagram and Facebook at Hollyweird Paranormal and Twitter at HWP Podcast. Have a story that you're dying to share, no pun intended, of course. Then email us at hollyweirparanormal@gmail.com, which some of you guys have, and we love. We Celine Dion love it. I love it. I love reading your stories. We love stalking you on Facebook. We're like, okay, first and last name. We're going to go on Facebook. Who it is.
We don't have a lot of hobbies.
No, we don't. Catch up with their past episodes on Blueberry, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, CastBox, Player FM, and Spotify, guys. All right. So till next time, I believe our next episode might be our big one before our hiatus, because May is going to be my hell month.
Yes.
But I might be ninjaing another episode because it just so happened that OC Ghosts and Legends
insane
hit us up.
Hi.
Get this. OC Ghosts and Legends, guys, go listen to the episode 37. Listen to the amazing things that this paranormal team does. Hackenford Manor or Mansion is the location that Ghost Adventures did in season 12. I believe is episode 30-something. But that is their place. They invited your girls to go and interview them and pretty much... do a live interview from that manor.
Blurk.
It is an intense place. There are tunnels.
So I will be Skyping in from the In-N-Out down the street with my little animal-style burger.
Prohibition tunnels.
Girl.
That were once walked through by Seagull.
Oh, that also.
That old so-and-so. So yeah, there's a lot of haunted tea there. It's going to be a great episode, and we cannot wait to join them once again. But it's so awesome to be invited by this group.
I know, it's so sweet.
And this is going to be an amazing event that they're going to do. So if you want more information on OC Ghosts and Legends, then go on www.ocghostsandlegends.com. OC Ghosts and Legends on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. All right, guys, till next time. If you want to find out what our next episode is going to be before our hiatus, then you're going to have to follow us.
It's a trick.
It's a trick, guys.
Gotcha.
But we will definitely be going back in time to the 80s.
Yes.
All right, till next time, guys. Bryce, you have anything to say?
Bye.
Bye. Check your roof for a raccoon. Bye.
I know.
Stay Hollyweird, guys.